okay, but you have subscribers.
It's true, and I hope they're going to watch this one.
They will.
I think so, too.
Because they like your videos.
Who doesn't like my videos?
Yes, they do. Kirby, you're awesome.
It's true, I am pretty awesome. Alright, what's going on, guys? Throwback again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a throwback review, which is not something I typically do, but from time to time I feel the need to do it. Now, the reason for this one is because Wolverine, the Wolverine, is hitting this July. So I did my thoughts on the Thor trailer as well as some others, and I consistently find myself talking about X-Men Origins Wolverine, but realizing I've never done a thorough review of it, or at least even, a half-decent review of it, decided that, I'd go ahead and do that because I am a huge Wolverine fan. I'm a huge fan of comic book movies. It is relevant because the second one's coming up, the sequel, so to speak. Whether or not it is a sequel, you guys know what I'm saying. It kind of is. So, figured I'd do a review of this one. So, this film hit in 2009, and I got to tell you, I was stoked to see the movie when it came out. I was really, really excited, mainly because I grew up with Wolverine. I grew up watching X-Men, the animated series, and just absolutely loving that cartoon show. Reading Wolverine comic books, playing video games with Marvel superheroes like Marvel vs. Capcom with Wolverine, where he's got the huge claws and he kind of hunches over and, besters of what I do, the whole snick and everything. I love Wolverine. Great character, awesome character. I think that Hugh Jackman does a fantastic job as Wolverine. He is, without a doubt, probably the best actor to play a comic book character, right up there with Robert Downey Jr., right up there with Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Who else? I mean, anybody who's really great at playing a comic book character. And the good thing about him is he's given us, how many movies now? I mean, he's given us the first three X-Men movies, X-Men Origins Wolverine, The Wolverine, that's 5, and then he did a cameo in First Class, which was really cool. That was a great cameo. It didn't take much, but it was just like, that's so awesome that he was willing to do that, because a lot of actors won't do that. So if you count that, and he's going to be in Days of Future Past, you're looking at a total there of, if you count his cameos and everything, 7 different movies that Hugh Jackman has been in as Wolverine, with a heavy focus on 5 of them as him being a central core character to the story. Yes, love it. So thank you, Hugh Jackman, for doing that. You're the man. This movie right here most people would consider it as a failure. Technically speaking, I mean, if you look at the movie and you're not a Wolverine fan, it is a failure. I'd have to say it is. But I really enjoy the movie. Now, it could just be because I'm such a huge fan of Wolverine. And yes, there are some things about it that are just totally awful and ridiculous and terrible. But it doesn't ruin it for me to the point where I can't watch it and appreciate it. I've actually seen this movie about 5 or 6 times, something like that. Yeah, I think 6 is correct. And the reason being is because there's so many great things in it that I love that, I was waiting for them to really bring to light and show in sort of like your live-action type Marvel universe, which is to see, some independent time with Wolverine where we don't have the other X-Men around all the time, and he's not played as like a side role. Like he does have a big role in X-Men, but you got Halle Berry in there, you got Jean with her issues, you got Magneto in every frickin' one. You got all of these characters. He didn't really get to be in the forefront. This movie, finally, he got a chance to be in the forefront, and for us to be able to just enjoy seeing what a Wolverine film could be like. Now, at the beginning when it starts out, I have to say the kid Wolverine, where his origins, X-Men Origins Wolverine, where he's a little kid and he's got the bone claws and all that, it just plays out weird. I think it plays out weird because getting a kid to do that in that scene at the beginning is, it just comes off as strange. When he's all screaming and stuff, he's just a kid. It's not the actor's fault or anything. It's just one of those things in a comic book series that looks so sick, and then when you do it in a movie, it doesn't feel right. It just feels weird. But my favorite part about this movie is how they handle the relationship between Sabretooth and Wolverine. Lev Schreiber's Sabretooth, I think, is fantastic. Now, yes, it doesn't really fit in continuity with the first X-Men movie, because in that, of course, they meet each other. You know, of course, Wolverine might not remember Sabretooth, but, you know, Sabretooth looks nothing like Lev Schreiber. He's got the huge hair and everything, and he's bigger than him, and at the same time, too, like, he doesn't even say anything to him to, like, that he recognizes him or anything. That being said, it couldn't really have been avoided that, you know, in the X-Men 1 movie, which was created, you know, back in the 90s, there's no way they would have envisioned that at some point they would be able to do like a Wolverine Origins movie. Plus, it's Fox, and at the same time, it's like, you know, at that time, superhero movies, like, they were unsure. Like, they didn't know. Like, the Avengers, you know, all those characters, they weren't even thinking about any of that. You know, sure, it worked for Batman with 89, but then, of course, Returns, and then Forever, and oh my God, Batman and Robin. You know, it just seemed like superhero movies might not have worked. So there's no way they could have prepared and known that they were going to be doing something like that for it to line up. So no matter what, there's going to be continuity issues if you want to consider it as all being part of the same universe. Also, Emma Frost is in this one, or at least it looks like it's her, supposed to be her, kind of. And then, of course, again, it doesn't fit with what happens in First Class. But regardless of that, you have, I think, what I would consider to be a great relationship between Sabretooth as Lev Schreiber and Wolverine. Some awesome fight scenes between the two, I think. Great fight scenes. And just, you know, lots of silly, fun action throughout the movie. We also get to see Gambit. That's also like a big nerd moment where you get to see like just some of these characters from the comic books, to see them on the big screen and everything. You've got Stryker, who's in there. You've got John Wraith, who I didn't even remember from the comic book series. One of those characters I never paid much attention to. Will.i.am. Whatever. Doesn't really matter too much. Not a very essential character or anything. And then you have, of course, the biggest one, which people will remember, is Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, who's become a huge character now. And kind of was around that time, too, but even bigger now, as, of course, Wade Wilson, Deadpool. Now, the biggest part that's failed in the movie, if they would have done this differently, they would have fixed the movie, in my opinion. If, you know, the whole shutting up Deadpool thing. If you shut up Deadpool, that's not Deadpool. You know, if Deadpool can't talk shit to you while he's shooting at you and trying to cut you in half, he's not Deadpool anymore. And then, to make matters worse, they turn him into Baraka, which was just ridiculous, because you've got the blades that come out of his arms don't even make sense, because they're like swords. Where do they go? Do they just go up his entire arm, and then he can't bend his frickin' arm, so he has to walk around like this because he's got these frickin' blades, like he'd always have to be like this until he ejects them, and it's like, and then he heals, and it's like, oh, now I can move my arms again, now that I've ejected these giant frickin' Baraka swords out of my arms. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like somebody watched Mortal Kombat and was like, oh, I gotta do that. Oh man, I gotta put him, he'd be perfect for my Wolverine movie. Perfect. You know, it's just, oh man, that was brutal. So that's something about this movie that a lot of people were like, oh, F that noise. Of course he's shooting laser beams too, which is another problem. They took too many liberties with Deadpool. And that's one of those characters you don't really want to do that with, I think, personally. So, whatever. Ryan Reynolds was a good cast for it, though, I'd have to say. Especially earlier on in the movie, really funny, some of his lines and stuff. And he makes for, like, a perfect Deadpool, because he's got that whole, like, he was in Waiting and all these other funny comedy movies. And then he's got the same build as him, because he's really skinny. You know, like, super skinny and everything. And he's got the swords and the training and everything. So, man, that was perfect. But they just really messed up at the ending. If they would have just had him fight just like that, talking shit to him the whole time, maybe have Stryker implant like an implant in his brain or something to control him, or some shit like that. I don't even care. Or get one of the other mutants to control him or something, force her to. You know, that would have been way better as a final fight scene than Baraka. Oh God. So that definitely is something that is like so fail for the movie, I think, personally. And that really should have been changed. The whole twist, like near the end of the movie, the twist, if you guys know what I'm referring to, where you have Wolverine's love interest who ends up being, you know, kind of being controlled by Stryker, but that she does actually have feelings for Logan, for James, for Wolverine. You know, I mean, it's not great either, to be honest with you. That part I don't really care for too much either. To add to that, the adamantium bullet. I like that. I think that's pretty interesting because that's not from the comic book series. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think there was a comic book where Wolverine got shot in the head with an adamantium bullet, and that explains why his memories don't come back because his brain grows back, but his memories don't. I thought that was pretty clever and pretty brilliant, and I like that a lot. Let's see. So that's that. In terms of the other characters, Blob and some of the other characters are just literally thrown in there just because they don't really necessarily serve the story, I would say. They're just kind of thrown in there because they're characters from the, you know, the comic books and everything. I don't really like a lot of the way they handle a lot of the characters, but I don't hate it at the same time, too. I thought Gambit was handled pretty well. Sabretooth was handled well. Deadpool at the beginning was handled well. Stryker was handled really well. Wolverine was handled great. So everything like that was good. The production qualities of this movie also take away from the movie. You have parts where I believe it's CG when Wolverine he's chopping down against Gambit like a fire escape down. And when you watch it nowadays too, I think it was in 2009. Oh my God, it looks so fake. It looks so stupid and so fake. It's painful. It's like, what is he, like a chainsaw? Like, and it's like cutting it down. It just looks ridiculous. You guys can go look for the scene if you know what I mean when they first are fighting, when they meet each other and everything. So, you know, that might have just been Fox trying to rush it and not getting enough time to really go through it and everything like that and make sure it looked well. The ending, there was some CG parts there too that weren't the greatest. Some of it was okay, some of it was bad. But, you know, for me, this is the type of movie where I don't take it too seriously. I enjoy seeing Wolverine in the wilderness. You know, he's got the part where he's working and he's got an axe and he's just kind of walking around, casual and everything like that. So the scenery's great. The fight scenes between Sabretooth and Wolverine are amazing. The fight scene with Gambit's pretty good aside from that chopping down thing. The ending fight scene is pretty good aside from Barakapool being in it. And overall, I recognize it's not a good film. I recognize that. But I still enjoy it. I still like it. And I've seen it 6 times. Because I just think some of the scenes are so great. The fights and stuff are so awesome. They're just something you always wish when you're reading a Wolverine comic series that you could see something like that brought to life. And they definitely did a good job at it. Definitely. I could go on for a little bit longer, but I don't want to make the review too long. I think that's about as in-depth as it needs to be. In terms of a score, I'm going to give it 2 scores. The first score is going to be like like an actual score for the movie. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I think it's just a little bit below what I would consider to be average. Yeah, so I'll give it a 6. As a Wolverine fan or fanboy, which I kind of am, I'll give it just for fun, like the fun of it. I'll give it an 8 because I think it is very fun. It's something I can watch again, and I don't hate it. There are a lot of things about it that I do enjoy. So hopefully, The Wolverine, which is being released this year, 2013, is even better than this one was. Has even more great Wolverine moments and fight scenes and everything like that. I'm sure it will. Silver Samurai should be killer, and hopefully it will just be a lot of fun. They're not going to win any Oscars for Wolverine or for X-Men Origins Wolverine or X-Men or any of these types of things. It's just not going to happen. So the best we can get is a fun movie, hopefully written well, and hopefully it turns out better than this one. I think The Wolverine should be better than Wolverine X-Men Origins just because of Barakapool. That was a big-time screw-up, man. Other than that, it would have been a great movie if they would have fixed that. For comic book fans, I think a lot of people would have liked it a lot if they would have fixed that and really made that. I've done a lot better with that. So that's pretty much all I got to say about X-Men Origins Wolverine, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you are interested, you like this kind of review, you want to see me do some more throwback reviews, I'm a big X-Men fan, so I may go back and do the X-Men movies again as reviews. But it depends on how many people watch. Is it worth my time? This kind of thing. Does anyone care? Because I know they are older at this point. You know, they're not brand new stuff. It's not current stuff. So does anyone care? If people care, then I don't have a problem doing it because I do enjoy it. But again, people got to actually care. So I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, and I'm saying peace.